Hello. So, fire in the Jungle Book, that you're familiar of the story of the Jungle Book and Mowgli, um, plays an important role in that book, but also in civilization taking shape, because we have a kitchen that then forms like the fire around which, um, say, ancient hunters and gatherers gather around fire over time, fireside chat, bonfire, and civilization, community harmony, so to speak, live together over in a community versus live like monkeys on trees, so to speak. And over time now we have families with a kitchen, and a kitchen makes a difference in the family environment from what gets cooked. And the living room hearth, for example, the fireside, there's this idea of a cozy, um, say, winter, cold, a warm cup of something to drink. Yeah, blankets, fireside. That's the idea in the West, maybe. The idea of Christmas, your crackling fire, and there's a warm food and homely times. So there's this book called Yuga. It's a Danish book. Um, um, Hygge. Yeah, it talks about these final simple homilies. That's not so simple in how life is lived in everyday moments. Our familial domestic life is also given by such warmth in our interactions. And things get a little cold when our relationships are not so lovely, not so warm, yeah, where there's a difficulty in relating with each other. So fire plays an important role in civilization. Our body, we have a body that's human, and human bodies, human beings, function by warm blood. That's one of the definition for human being, that we function by warm blood. And where there is fire, there is smoke, or where there is smoke, there's fire. Where there's a human body, you have warmth. And where there's warmth, there is fire. So that kind of relationship. The thing is, fire maintains what took our human body to form over several cycles of evolution. And which is one of the reasons why we find it comforting when we have warm clothes, something warm to drink or eat, warm conversations, and things get a little cold. You see warmth, temperature, warm to hot to cold to cool, like a temperature range, plays an important role in distance in our relationships, or say even business conversions. They talk about cold calls versus warm to hot. Yeah, it's a hot deal. So temperature is there in our language. It's also speaking about our human condition, our economic conditions also having shaped by human experiences formed over several cycles of evolution. When you think in terms of yoga, when you think in terms of healthcare, maintaining being healthy, try and include warmth as an important part. Not hot, not cold, cool. Warmth to begin with in your health maintenance practices. Yeah. And then after warmth, consider cool. Having a cool disposition attitude, not hot or cold. Those seems to be extremes. If you consider the range in between, cool to hot, you're less likely to have, for example, a Raynaud's phenomenon, which is when the hands are all kind of cold, maybe from a certain distancing of the person, the warmth in the person, and being able to be finely related like hands and glove with the forces of life. Yeah. Otherwise, they may be a little distant, a little stepped back from being hands and glove with force of life due to whatsoever reasons. May have been past-based experiences, could be something that's not immediately working in the environment, and so they kind of step back. Yeah. So sometimes a handshake speaks about health of people. Yeah. So pay attention to warmth in your own body. It becomes easier for you to kind of have like a thermometer of how well you're doing in life. Your joints sometimes get creaky when there is not sufficient care, warmth by which you take care of your own health. Yeah. So when you're doing your exercises, pay attention to warmth a little bit. Sometimes the cold that may be there in the muscles tend to warm up a bit because they do say warm up before exercises. You continue to pay attention to warmth and notice when it's getting hot or when you notice, oh, it's a little cool, like, like you're defreezing from when you take food from the refrigerator, it tends to be a little cold and it takes some time for it to thaw, the frozen state to a little thaw. Sometimes if you notice a little cold experiences while you're exercising, maybe some of the frozen energy, or the movements in life, or something that's been stuck from past experiences, it's slightly thawing. So continue to pay attention to warmth and notice if it's getting hot, in which case, cool down a bit. It's better to relax. You're less likely to fracture a muscle or get into trouble. Hot or cold has that thing. Try to pay attention to warmth or cool within that range. Yeah. You're more likely to be safe and more likely to get healthy, whether or not you've been like frozen queen or hot molten lava. Yeah. You slowly come to the middle range. Yeah. And you'll be fine. Yeah. Thank you so much for your kind attention. I hope this has been of value to you. Good day.